morning, everyone, and welcome to our Prestige PEO webinar series. My name is Shannon Shaw. I am Operations Supervisor at Prestige PEO and your host this morning. Today, we will be reviewing your 2023 W-2 and your frequently asked questions. I am joined by Sharon Creerand, Payroll Analyst at Prestige PEO. Hi, Sharon. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Our webinar viewers are automatically muted, but we encourage you to utilize the chat feature for any questions you may have, and we will address them at the end of the webinar if time allows. If your question is not answered, we will follow up with you shortly after the webinar concludes. The webinar is also being recorded and will be posted on our W-2 Resource Center so that you can refer to it at any time. And now we'll get started with the webinar. Welcome, Sharon.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Shannon. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great morning. I've got my coffee. I hope that you have yours too. In this little webinar, we're just going to basically break down the W-2. And as you may or may not know, they are released from Prestige. So we're going to go over where you can find your W-2 towards the end of this slide. But first, I just kind of want to do a little overview and break down what each of the boxes mean because it can be a little confusing. So pay attention to the slides, and again, everything will be shared with you at the end. Again, my name is Sharon. I've been with Prestige for about 3 years now. I started as a payroll specialist. I'm not sure if any of my clients are on, but it's nice to see you again. And then I moved up to the analyst position a little bit ago, so it's been real fun. I'm excited to be doing this because I used to be a teacher, so it's fun for me to talk to a group again. Okay, so what is a W-2? Essentially, a W-2 is a summary of everything that you've earned for the year for that employer, and it's a breakdown of your income and your taxes. For employees, you're going to be using these forms when you're filing for your federal and state income tax season, which is looming upon us very quickly. Employers are using this to report FICA taxes that have been submitted to the IRS. Also, something to keep in mind, you're only going to get a W-2 if you've earned a gross of a minimum of $600 or more for the year, which most of you guys have. That's why you're on this webinar. So overall, in your W-2 form, it's going to show you all of the taxes that were withheld, but it gets broken down very specifically between state, federal. Certain numbers are including benefits, some aren't, so we're going to kind of go into that a little bit. And just so you know, they always have to be postmarked by January 31st of every year, but they've been released early through Prestige, and like I said, we're going to go over where you can get that shortly. So the first thing I wanted to point out, in payroll, we get this question all of the time, and it's a very reasonable question. A lot of employees get their W-2 and they start worrying because they look at the box 1, which is at the top of the form, right? It's the first thing that you're going to be looking at. And they look at their gross taxable wages and they're saying, why is this not matching what is showing on my final pay stub? There is a specific reason for that. So in box 1, this is representing your gross taxable wages, including your salary, tips, bonuses, and commissions. But you'll notice that the total earnings are what's listed here because this box is less any pre-tax deductions. So any pre-tax benefits that you've enrolled in, they're going to be removed from this number. So it's going to be a little bit less than what you see on your final pay stub. And just to break it down even further, the biggest example, the pre-tax deduction, would be your health insurance, non-taxable income, stuff like that. And don't worry, we'll go into it a little bit more. And yeah, that could be a reimbursement for mileage or other expenses incurred, reimbursed through payroll, 401k, a lot of things lower box 1 specifically, but not boxes 3 and 5. So you can see when you look at your W-2, I don't want you to think that the number at the top is the overall picture. Everything's displayed very specific. So we'll go through it a little bit more. And also just keep in mind before I keep going, these are very general review of the W-2. Everybody's W-2 is custom to them only. So your W-2 is not going to look anything like your coworker, even if you guys are at the same pay rate. It's very catered to you as a person specifically, and you know how you were set up with your company, what benefits you're enrolled in, et cetera, stuff like that. So the next box, that's a big one, is box 3. So box 3 is representing all of your earnings that are subject to Social Security tax. That's an umbrella of your FICA taxes, right? Social Security tax rate has not changed for 2023. It's 6.2%, which I know is hard to swallow sometimes. The amount that gets taxed here does not include your tips. There is an actual cap on how much you can be taxed for Social Security, which I'll get to in a second. But that's why for some of you looking at your W-2, you'll notice that this number is going to be lower than box 1. So I don't want you to panic if that's the case. There's a reason. The Social Security wages, as a big reminder, if Prestige or your current employer under Prestige is not your only employer for 2023, your Social Security wages do reset when you change employers, unfortunately. But just keep in mind that in 2023, the wage limit is $160,200. So once you have met that in gross earnings, this tax no longer applies. And don't worry, I'm sure a lot of you have questions. We'll get through them at the end. For box 5, this is the other half of your FICA, which is your Medicare tax, and that is at 1.45%. There's no cap on this one, sadly, so you can earn as much as you want. You're still going to always be taxed on it. And also as a reminder, there is actually an additional employee-only tax that gets added after you go past $200,000 in wages. So it's an additional 0.9%. And I hate to be the bearer of that news, but just wanted you to understand why the Medicare tax might not be mathing if you're doing 1.45 times your whole gross wages and you've gotten over 200, it's not going to match the number you're getting. So continuing on, box 7, this is your Social Security tips. So there are tips earned by you that are subject to Social Security tax. This is a specific little category. Just to break out that number specifically, the IRS requires that we break it out this way. And just keep in mind that this all does math together. So if you were to take box 3 and add it to box 7, it should total the number you get in box 1. So it's all connected. In box 16, that is representing your state taxable wages that are earned. So depending on your state, this number may be the same as box 1 or it might not. So it is very specific. An example of that, I know many of you are probably New York City or New York State based. In New York State, it is required to match box 1 in box 16, and it does not matter if you lived in New York for 1 day or 340 days, that number has to match. So that is another common question that I get. They're saying, wait, I moved. Why is it showing all these taxes under New York when I was in Texas for most of the year? So that is why. It's a New York State legal requirement. And then furthering down through the W-2, we're going to look at box 18. This is representing any local income. Unfortunately, if you live in a certain area, there are local taxes that have to be added as well. Very common example would be like New York City has a lot of local specific taxes that you have to pay as a part of your income. So depending on this number, it might not equal box 1. It might. If you have any questions on that, like I said earlier, it's so specific to you as a person. So just reach out to your payroll specialist. We'll be able to look at your entire picture and then translate it to the W-2. You know, this is why you're seeing local taxes for this, and this is why you're paying New York State paid family leave, whatever it may be. So you could just come to us with your questions. So we decided to add this in because I just felt it was important to go over. There are a ton of other boxes on the W-2. We try to go over the most frequently questioned, but it's good for you all to know and understand what the following boxes mean. So I'm calling them my honorable mentions. So for box 10, this is specifically dependent care. It's reflecting the total dependent care benefits under a dependent care assistance program, which is more than likely employer paid. It is not subject to federal, Social Security, or Medicare taxes, but they are subject to New York State and city. So again, very specific. Box 12 is your tax deferred annuities. So for example, group term life, retirement, if your company provided you with funds when you were moving for that job, that would be put here as well. And any employer sponsored health coverages. So most of these contributions, and I say most, not all, are not subject to the taxes that you see that are reflected in box 1, box 16, and 18, but they are subject to FICA. So you can see it's so specific. And FICA, again, being Social Security and Medicare taxes. And just FYI, there are a ton of codes on this. If you ever need help interpreting it, you could, of course, let us know. Box 14, specifically, you may have a ton of different codes, you know, DD, CC, it goes on and on. But this is any additional tax information that your employer needs to reflect on your W-2. So examples would be that cafeteria 125. A lot of people see that. Any kind of tax-free employee benefits, your union dues, health insurance premiums that were deducted if your company is providing any kind of education assistance, or if you're getting a taxable auto allowance because you drive for your company. There's so many examples. The list really goes on and on, but I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what that box represents. So there's a ton of boxes, and I know that we have a lot of questions flooding in, but before I start looking at the chat from Shannon on the questions, I wanted to just go over the most common questions that we get in payroll, and that would be these. So the first question being, my employer joined Prestige January 1st of 2024. Will you guys give me a W-2? So no, if the W-2 we're providing for 2023 only represents wages that you have earned in 2023. And so if your company has joined Prestige as of January 1st, there's no wages recorded through us. There can be a unique situation if your pay period starts in 2023 and you are falling into January 1st. But if you are absolutely starting on January 1st, you would not get a W-2 from us. The next common question, we get this one a lot, is my employer joined in the middle of last year. So does that mean I'm going to get 2 W-2s? That is correct. So as many jobs as you have had is however many W-2s you're going to get. We're only providing to you the wages that you've earned while you were employed under Prestige. And so a lot of times we get phone calls from employees saying, I need my prior W-2. Unfortunately, our only response will be you need to reach out to your prior employer, and they need to get you a copy if you had lost it. The next question is, wait, this isn't my W-4. There is a big difference. Although the forms have similar goals, the W-4 is what you're using to make your tax elections. So there is a way to update this in the portal at any time. I have a lot of employees who make changes towards the ends of the year. For example, if they want to increase their withholdings, they're worried they're being under withheld, whatever the situation may be. Whenever you change your W-4, like let's say you want to change it from single to married to a certain number of allowances, et cetera, the second you go in and make your changes, it's effective as of your next pay period. So it's immediate. The W-2 is different because it's giving you a picture. It's giving you a summary of everything that has happened with your employment tax and wage-wise for 2023. So what is cafe or cafeteria 125? That's another big one. This is one of IRS's fund terms and codes for pre-tax benefits. Most common examples are retirement plans, health insurance, flex spending accounts, stuff like that. So it basically just means that it's collected before, hence the pre. But if you ever have questions on it, of course, you can let us know and we can break it down for you a little bit more because everybody's very specific. Imputed income, that's a fun one. We get that a lot as well. This is for any specific type of fringe benefit or a non-cash item or a service that is actually still taxable from your employer. So for example, if you receive group term life, if you have a company car, if your company is providing domestic partner coverage for you, while it's not a taxable income, you are responsible for the tax portion of it. So that's just a little overview. Again, we can let you know what your specific imputed income is if it applies to you. And then the last question is, where can I access my W-2? I'm sure everybody was waiting for me to do that one first. Once it's posted, which it is, it's available on the employee portal. And we're going to walk through how to navigate to it. But as soon as you log in, on the left-hand side, there's a menu. You just hit taxes, W-2. It's very, very easy. Let me go through that really quick for you. Oh, and I just wanted to point out too, if you opt, this is very important, if you had selected at some point in time when you were filing your W-4 or your state forms to receive an electronic copy of your W-2, you're only going to receive it as an electronic copy, meaning you log on to the portal and you retrieve it. If you did not select that, you'll have both options. You'll automatically have a paper copy mailed to you. You can double check if you're not sure. I know a lot happens throughout the year. We don't really remember. But once you log into your portal and you go to the right section, which I'll show you, it will give you a little statement at the top that says you have successfully signed up for an electronic copy. If you see that message as shown on the slide, that means you're not getting a paper copy. So please keep that in mind. If you have any questions or you really need a paper copy for some reason, you know, it comes up all the time, call us. We can definitely work with you and help you obtain it. Okay, so when you're in the portal, if you want to maybe even try it now while you're sitting on this, log into your employee self-service portal. On the left-hand menu, you'll see the taxes section. Once you click on that, you're going to click on W-2. Select the year, which obviously most of you are probably looking for 2023 in the drop-down, and that's it. You've got your W-2. So it's super easy. You can also obtain this on your phone, which I will just show you really quick. In the phone, it's really user-friendly. If you look into the menu, you'll be able to select download W-2s. You can see it towards the bottom of that image. Once you click download W-2s, it'll allow you to pick the year, and that's it. You have your W-2. Again, if you need a paper copy, just let us know. We'll work with you and get that out to you as soon as possible. And just keep in mind that tax season is upon us. We are here to help you as far as updating your W-4, especially now that we're in the new year. If you would like to reset or change your filings, we'll help you. I always like to caution that we are not personal tax advisors. We can't provide you with professional personal advice. I can't tell you if filing singled will be better for you specifically versus married jointly, et cetera. So always reach out to your tax professional for questions like that. But in terms of updating your form, retrieving your form, interpreting your form, and understanding what it's saying, we're here to help you for that. So in conclusion, do we have any messages?
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Just one
question
that I saw come up
was that when employees log into their employee portal
and they click taxes and W-2s, they're not seeing where to download. So if you could just return to that slide and emphasize that they need to select the year, that seems to be an issue that comes up multiple times because there's no real guidance on that slide.
Okay, perfect. So yep, great question. When you log in, it's not going to automatically populate the prior year's W-2. So you're going to have to click on that drop-down menu and select the year you want. If you have any issues, just let us know. We can download and send it to you via an encrypted or protected email file. Again, if you need more than one W-2, like you need all of them in one PDF, you can reach out to your payroll specialist. But it's all retrievable here. Just click on the drop-down menu and you should be able to select it. Okay. I'm not sure if we have any other questions. I'll give it a second, but as we are finishing this up, I just wanted to remind you guys that we're here for you. Give us a call. If you're not sure who to reach out to, you can call our main line found on the PrestigePEO website. And here's our resource center. This is critical. You can rewatch this as many times as you like. We have a ton of information on W-2s. Any other questions coming in? Did we get everybody? I hope that means I did a really great job answering everything. So yeah, to give you back your time, I'm not going to keep everybody if there's no other questions. It's been a pleasure sitting with you. Prestige is really happy to work with all of you, and we're here if you need any help. And I'll leave up this last slide for a few minutes just in case you are writing down the website or anything like that. So thank you very much for your time and have a great day, everybody. Sharon, you just mute yourself, okay?
Thank you so much to Sharon for this valuable presentation, and thank you to everyone for joining us. You can view this webinar recording on our W-2 Resource Center at www.prestigepeo.com/W2-resource-center. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to your payroll specialist. And you can also follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter for current happenings at PrestigePEO and the latest information. Finally, remember to download our Prestige Go mobile app for access to your benefits information and support from your HR team members on the go. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.